Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are excited about being here. We're going to give it just a few minutes to allow other people to gather. We'll be starting just after just 5 minutes after, so. Great energy, Ushaas. Thank you for, clearing our space and our screen. Very, very nurturing. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed. Indeed, indeed.
Make sure your phones are on silence so we don't have any disturbance coming in. Because remember, we are recording and Ushaas does not have great editing skills. Okay, just a few more minutes. Can you hear any background noise over here? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 6, our final installation of Ignite Your Soul Connection for this winter solstice 2021. What an amazing week we have had. I mean, we have really had some amazing speakers since Monday. And no, actually since Sunday. And I hope you had a chance to listen in. On Sunday, we started off with Life Expressed. And then on Monday, we went into Finding Your Flow. On Tuesday, we actually had an opportunity to listen to 3 of our powerful life coach sisters, our MFC sister queens. And they talked to us about feeling it all, like really being able to tap in to the pain and the joy of your life and use that to maneuver through. And then on Wednesday, we had Dr. Tammy and Taji share with us about the soul of nurturing and what it is to nurture your soul as well as the soul of someone else. And then last night on Thursday, we talked to our youngest Master Force coach, Marshawn Frencha, and we were talking about the power of surrender. on bended knees, like what it looks like to just let go and trust that the universe, God, source has everything in control. And we can just stop fighting so much, right? And just know that everything is going to work out. So tonight, we are in for the final edition where we get to look at our maturity inside of understanding so that we can understand. So before we get to that conversation, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Mushim Soot, or some people call me Rita Stewart. I am the owner of Master Force Inc. and the founder of Master Force International Leadership Academy. We have been certifying life coaches for over 10 years, and we have also been bringing Ignite Your Soul Connection to you for over 10 years. So we have 10-year anniversary all the way around. So we're actually excited that we have been able to bring you this gift at no cost to you, except for your time and energy to sit and take in the information. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my two amazing life coaches. And I'm going to start with the most senior coach. I'm going to start with Ushaas, and she's going to come in. Ushaas, can you come in and just tell us about yourself?
Greetings, greetings. My name is Ushaas, Tupac L. And I've studied informally for before I did my formal training, had got certified as a life coach. Just because I realized the imbalancement of what the world was offering to us. As they call it, a DNA explosion, I knew that there was something that I had to look for. So in that journey, I began to study herbs, study the makeup of herbs. I also studied Kung Fu, and with learning Chinese energetics, brought my studies to a whole nother level. In 2007, I actually got certified as a natural healer and life coach, and did internships, did helped a lot of people over the years balance their health out. In doing that, it noticed that it was more so people had to learn more control of their minds as opposed to balancing everything out. So in learning those things, also obtained a doctorate in divinity, knowing all the different religions, and also navigating in the indigenous world. So in elevating all of that in 2014, I got in touch with Miss Mushim Soot, and she introduced me to Master Force coaches, and she developed a program to help elevate our coaching in whatever disciplines we were already in as far as helping others. And so that took my knowledge to another level. Also introducing the part of sovereignty and being able to actually operate as a god. You're hindered in this society. So marrying in a lot of things, because another title that I retain is Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. My name is also known as Kamami Kare of the Continental Moorish Yamasee Empire. So as we continue to learn the different things we're able to do in this world, um, you realize your limitations as far as the systems that we're governed by. So tonight, I give thanks to be able to bring information to help everyone understand a better way of living as we continue on in this fifth dimension of the Aquarian age. Thank
Oh, I just love all of that. That is
you.
just so wonderful. Just we just have so many amazing people in our circle. You know, we everything that we need is just right here. We can just touch it. Isn't that wonderful?
I give
Thank you.
thanks. I give
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. Okay, and now we're gonna bring in our brother King. Robert Nickson. Robert, can you come in and share about yourself and what you've been up to and what how you got to Master Force as well? So,
Absolutely. How you doing? I'm Robert Nickson, and I started Master Force back in 2018, and I met one of the other Master Force coaches, Tammy Matthews, during that time when I was working in Chicago public schools. And during that period, I was mentoring and coaching wrestling for the longest. And while doing that, it kind of.
hey, whose phone is that? Yeah, turn that phone down, off.
Yep. So, and while doing that, sorry, but yeah, while doing that, mentoring and coaching wrestling, I kind of seen myself as this role model to a lot of these, the young men that I was mentoring and working with, and they look up to me for a lot of different. I seen myself as that father figure, especially when I had my own boys. So me being able to kind of help those individuals out with even steering straight or become focused or get goals in line, those were important to me because they saw that I was a person that was, ambitious and looking to continue to improve myself. So me giving back, I didn't have any way of really doing it. I'm like, I had to do a lot more than coaching, and I can help these get young men out in different ways. So when I met Tammy and just saw the energy that she had, like, I wanted that, and how do I learn to really be effective towards them, outside of coaching? And I got into life coaching and felt like it was like, okay, I'm doing sports coaching and life. And it was a huge difference. So I was able to guide them, help them out, and me learning. Same thing, what she said as well, is about understanding. That was the main thing, and teaching them how to breathe and to understand their true potential and seeing, the success that they had. I fell in love with it. So, I continue to read and study things that I can help and give back to those individuals. And that's mainly what I've been doing. And, I work in a different sector, but me coaching, it's a life process, even with the young boys that I have of my own, my 4 sons. So that's my reason for continuing to stick with a Master Force and learn as much as possible so I can be a lot big of a help. Yeah.
That's right. You have 4 sons, right? Do you have 4 sons, Robert? Oh, we have a glitch in the matrix.
Yes, I have 4 sons. Actually, you ever have a birthday today, actually, too.
Oh, you have a Capricorn. Wonderful. Okay.
Yep, 3 December babies, the 10th, 16th, and the 24th.
So 2 Sages and a Cap. Okay, you have your hands full, right? Wonderful. Yes. So we have some streaming problems going on. Is there somebody else streaming movies or something near you or something that's taking in your bandwidth?
It shouldn't, no.
You keep glitching a little bit. Okay.
We're doing so?
Well, it's did it now about 3 times. So that means that it may continue to do it. So I don't want it to alter us too much. So tonight is actually the last day of the winter solstice. Ushaas, how have you been spending this magical time? And give us some insight on why it's so important to take this time to Innerstand.
So how I decided to spend the winter solstice, one thing we must speak of, on November, there's a zodiac sign that many people are not aware of. They term it Serpentorius, also called Ophiuchus. So it starts November 30th and ends December 17th. And so the constellation is called Ophiuchus. And the reason why they did not allow us or give us information about this particular sign, because it's a high vibration. And so they capitalized on it by throwing you off with things on the outside world. That's why it's called a magical time of the year, because it's literally the time you can create magic with your in your inner self, because of the energies that are going on in the planet. And if you're in tune with that, you're able to literally create magic. So we'll get into a little later what exactly magic is. But when you talk about during this time, we actually did a 9-day fasting ritual before leading up to the winter solstice. So, and it was a dry fast until the evening and just liquids. And everybody was slated to do whatever they were physically able to do, because, we all accept and love, we accept the evolution of others, and we're all at different levels. And, we have to respect that and respect where everyone is so we can help them accordingly. So this particular time, when I did the fast, and I hadn't did like a really big fast in probably about 10 plus years. And when everybody was talking about it, I was like, wow, I'm a little rusty on my fasting. And it's very important to do that on a regular. So when you take away from the body, you automatically add to the spirit and your soul being. So it gives you a greater opportunity to get to know yourself, to get to know how your body works. Digestion in the physical body, the body takes a lot to just digest food. And during a fast, you're reminded of those things. You're reminded of the little things that affect your emotions. Also during the fast, it's a clearing out of so many different things. And so it's not just a physical clearing, it's also an emotional clearing, it's a mental clearing. I saw myself crying over stuff that happened so many years ago. But then it was a realization that it was leaving also physically my body. It's also had to leave my mind. So it had to come up in order to be eradicated. So during this time, we have the abilities we have are telepathy, where we can literally speak to each other. And me and my daughter do it all the time. I call her, she's like 3 floors above me, and she'll come downstairs. She's like, you call me? And I actually called her in my mind and was talking to her, but didn't have the ability. During the fast, that happened more so than not. Psychometry, another tool that we have, whereas you can pick up something and feel the energy from it from someone else. The other one is intuition. You think about something and it happens. Also clear sight, where you can literally see into other realms and see the future. You could have it in your dreams. They have clear audience as well, where you can hear things in other dimensions as well. So as we continue to get in the 5th dimension, and the winter solstice that just passed made it a year of actually being in the Aquarian age. Wow. So that means the vibrations of us are so intense if we're there to feel it. Yes. And it's and that's why there's an agenda to push the God gene out, to push out things that don't allow us to vibrate on high, because that way they have no control. So it's all about, when you get in tune with self, when you get into knowing what you're capable of, then everything on the outside kind of dissipates, and you're more so driving a car, with the radio blasting to your favorite song in life, as opposed to, going reactionary, just being reactionary. And it's not fulfilling. And you're just in here, with turmoil and chaos in your life, and not realizing that you are creating these cycles just because you don't understand your own being.
That's wonderful. And you just gave us a lot. Yeah. So Robert, what would you add to that? Did you have any time to reflect during this winter solstice? And then with 4 boys, are you able to start introducing them to this idea, or do you still do Santa Claus? I mean, either way works, right?
I don't do Santa Claus, but I mean, to kind of piggyback off of that, this time it's very crucial for myself as far as from cultivating that energy, the yin energy, and for my manifestation, usually in the spring and the summer times, which is when I feel like my yang is more dominant. But I'm not effective during that time if I don't take the time to cultivate that energy during this period, usually in the winter solstice. So I'm usually, meditate. Me working in the construction field, I use a lot of my time meditating and coming up with different ideas and to help brand myself even better come the spring and the summer times. So this is usually my end time. So even if I do it either whether it's night or during this period of time. I'm usually slow right now, so more so coaching. And the guys I coach, I mean the young kids I coach, they able to see this energy that I give to them. So and I tell them all about manifestation and and seeing their true potential and everything. So that's what happens with myself come those spring and summer months when I'm out there just working and I'm going. But had I not taken that time to really, meditate and relax during this period, the anxiety, the agitation, frustration that comes with doing the type of work that I do, it'll take over me big time. So I'm able to deal with it better, and same with my boys as well. It's like you put in the work in the dark, you can go shine in the light,
That's right.
So we continue to be persistent and sticking to what I do. It helps, and it helps with my success and everything. So I feel like the yin is very important. And it's more so my dominant side as well. I feel I'm real big on
Let me see your birth. Are you a Cancer?
Virgo.
Oh, Virgo. Oh, you think you're dominant and okay, yin, Virgo.
I definitely do.
See that? I can see that. Okay. Do you remember your destiny card number?
I believe it was an 8.
8 what?
Eight a club, I believe.
Okay. Well,
I have to check again, but
that's very mental.
Yeah.
8 a club could be between, you could be able to balance that yin yang between the Virgo and that mental. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Okay. That's good.
Yeah, and that's I literally do think I'm more so dominant on that because I like to let things kind of flow, and we had the challenges that we deal with on a day-to-day, and me taking that time out and usually relaxing, especially at nighttime, and you get a different understanding of just what goes on the outside out here, and these things out of our control, but I'm able to accept it in a different way. I got a sense of understanding there.
You mentioned about being able to be present to your yin. One of the things that we teach in one of our advanced master classes in the Kundalini Magic class, we really work with our brother kings to get them to realize that during the winter months, you need not ejaculate, like save your seed. This is a time to really bring that energy in, allow it to come up and nurture your pineal gland, allow it to move it into a sex transmutation, a creative, that open to the yin, right? So that's really good to hear you say that. I don't know if that's what you meant, but when you said it, I wanted to actually, because we did not mention that during this 6 day. This is the time to hold your seed.
Right.
But what you said, in the spring and the summer, that's the best time to yang out.
Ejaculation.
Yeah, except for women, you can do it as much as you want. You don't have to. You really, okay. But that's a different class. But I wanted to share that. So I want to go ahead and ask the question. This is my first question. How would you explain the power of yin and its relationship to understanding? How would you explain that? The power of yin and its relationship to understanding. Do either of you have an answer?
Um, okay, yes, I can go first. Since it is the balancement of the female
Mm-hmm.
portion of it. Um, so the yin is more of creativity. Um, and when you get into understanding, you have to know who you are. You have to comprehend who you are. So the universe, as females, and we're not just dealing with the term female, it's all about energy. So let's make sure we're clear about that, because we use the terms male and female, but when in the spiritual realm, there's no such thing as gender. And so when you really speak about the yin energy, you're speaking about uh, it's associated with the the innate purpose of yourself, the different things that you can actually pull out. So in order to really capitalize on that, you have to do the work to meditate. You have to do the work, use the tools to, I guess, understand yourself. And so when you talk about yin, you're able to exercise, things not only from inside yourself, but things that the universe and your ancestors are calling in for you to do as well. So getting in tune with the yin energy, you can also meet someone that is the opposite of you, that can help bring out those characteristics in you. But it all goes back to really having knowing who you are and realizing that yang energy that might come in to help you balance out the yin is a gift. A lot of times it comes in and people see it as a curse or something combative, but it's all lessons. As far as when you're in certain energy, you're automatically bringing other energy to you for your development. So it becomes an understanding. You have, once you comprehend that, um you're able to function with it and flow with it, as opposed to it causing you chaos in your life.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to come back to that. You opened up a few things. Let me have Robert speak to that, and then we'll come back to that. Robert, what would you say is the power of yin and its relationship to understanding?
So how I feel with the power of yin, I think when we gain like greater awareness of our inner state, we then like we realize when we've spent enough time doing like a particular activity or anything. So I mean by that, like, when we stress or become agitated or have eye problems or nausea, things like that, those are my ways of understanding when, things from the outside or any outer things, like I've done something for too long or become frustrated, irritated by it. By me cultivating my energy with the power of yin, I'm able to recognize those things. And I know when I'm out of whack or there's some type of disconnect, when yang is probably becoming too dominant within me. So that's when I usually seek that balance, and I can pull back, or won't overextend myself, even with the work I do. And everybody knows that I'm a helper and I'm a giver, and I go above and beyond a lot when I'm doing a lot of the work that I do. But it's times where I can feel myself becoming agitated or frustrated, and like, okay, now I need to not take on any other jobs, and not choose to do this. And I'm just listening to my inner self and the inner voice, which telling me, hey, relax, you've done enough, Robert. You can't help everybody. So that's my yin side, and keeping me from just going, and money and different things like that is not a motivator for me. It's I'm doing what I'm allowed to do and don't go overboard. So having that yin energy, it keeps that good balance with me, and a customer will never see me upset, irritated. Same thing with the guys I coach. So
Yeah.
it's to me, it's all about that, listening to that intuitive side and knowing when enough is enough. Time to relax. Go back home, relax. You can start back over tomorrow. But it's all the relaxation and staying calm and keeping myself in a good balance.
That's wonderful. And both of you brought up the idea that there's things from the outside that come at us, and as you mentioned about sometimes we can attract partners or attract situations that seem to be counterproductive, but they're literally giving us an opportunity to tap in. Now, can you say more about what that looks like? Because everybody's not aware that is an opportunity for training and development, right?
I had to learn that one.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit. Yeah. For people who don't get, who may not be where we are,
Right. Okay. So regardless of whatever walk of life you come from, whatever religion, some people believe that whether you believe that you a God with amnesia and you wrote out everything you were supposed to do before you got here, or if you believe that, an entity brought you here for a particular purpose, whatever the situation is, you are not the being. You is something different than what you see in the mirror. And that energy has a purpose on this planet. So as we are taught, it's a life plan. So, and it's a test. The earth is a testing ground for your spirit, regardless of why you're here. So when we realize that every time you go through a test, or every time and a test can be every day is a test, of your mind, and you come in contact with different people, and the universe provides you with that because you've asked for it before you got here. I need these lessons in order for me to elevate to here. Okay. That's what your soul being said before you got here, regardless of how many times you're here. We're all at different levels. But when people come into our lives, depending on where your level is, you might see that being is nothing but chaos. I'll give you a relationship I had. And I couldn't understand why this person was in my life. They were very abrupt, very chaotic. And, I'm all peace and love. And I'm just like, why is this person, every time I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with you. The universe forced me to deal with that person. And then even when I dismissed the person, a person just like that, it was the same person, but in a different shell.
Yeah.
The person kept coming back until I dealt with the lesson. Yeah. So a lot of times we want to claim victim when somebody does something. Oh, woe is me. No, you are God of your universe, or you have God in you, directing you, a higher being, Allah, whatever you term it. You are the force that is able to guide your being, and different things that come into you or come to you, whether it's experiences, you call it. So if you don't comprehend what's going on inside of you, you'll always live in chaos. If you don't balance your mind, you'll always live in chaos. And so once I came to that realization that I have more power than I gave myself credit, I was able to really release the generational curses.
Although I don't like to use that term because it's mostly generational learning.
Exactly. Yes. Generational, I guess you could say baggage, or generational lessons that, you know, the family line had to
Behaviors,
go
all of
in.
that. Yes.
Right. So I give thanks because some of us are the first generations to even conquer it or even
See it.
expel it.
Mhm.
And so, you know, it has a lot to do with that Willie Lynch residue. You know,
Mhm.
we all collectively and individually have had a lesson. And so as we come into the Aquarian age, we as the ones that are walking as the gods on the planet have to do the work to understand what's going on, to and the word understand and
Don't go
overstand.
there. Don't go there yet. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, no, we're gonna get to that. So,
Okay.
so Robert, what did you hear in that? Is there anything you can add to that? Because what I'm looking for and what Ushaas pointed to was, you know, every relationship matters, good, bad, or ugly.
Hmm. Absolutely, yeah, and that did stick out to me, especially with relationships and dealing with the yin and yang energy. Because how I see it, we have two types of relationships basically. You know, you got one that's healthy and supportive, whereas the other one can be you know, destructive. You know, and
Mm.
I feel like we get into those relationships to exchange that energy. You know, like typically, you know, men 80% yang or something, for example, and they usually seek out that 20% yin in another individual, and vice versa. So I feel like we come together and complement each other based off the energies we possess. So when myself, and I said I was more so dominant with the yin energy, and my wife, I feel like she's more dominant on the yang side in a way, you know, but it created that perfect balance, I feel, within us, you know, even with dealing with our children. You know,
Mhm.
it's also, I am more so the nurturing side and the understanding and, you know, the peace and keeping everything calm. My wife is just go, go, go. She's a go-getter, she's full of action, you know,
Mhm.
and that yang side is a little more dominant, but we create that balance with each other. So say if this relationship didn't work and maybe she, you know, that's the 40% yang that I'm lacking, you know,
Mhm.
and you know, chances I think I may look into another relationship for that, you know, but
Mhm.
because accomplishment each other. So that's why I'm like, it's not really, you know, anything too different, opposing to each other because they work with each other, you know, the relativity with yin and yang. So
Mhm.
and I feel like it's definitely important in relationships to flourish to have that balance. So that
Yeah,
just
that's really just to have the balance. I know I grew up in an environment without a father, right? So I did not have the balance of yang. I grew up in although I had a lot of women around me who were yang, but the yang of masculine is very different from the yang of feminine. So that's a whole nother conversation, right? But when I got married, my husband was dominant, very yang, and it ended up being a very abusive relationship. But one of the things that I was able to lessen, and that's why you said that chaotic, I remember learning how to be in myself and not bump up against him like that. When he was going like that, I was in my yin energy. I was either praying, I was meditating, I wasn't fearful. You know, I literally was into sending energy. But one of the things that I was able to see, and he was actually murdered when I was 25. So that's what ended the relationship, right? But I was able to see that that relationship was my initiation into the man's world, like really, you know, like that extreme side, you know, not, you know, necessarily the nurturing, loving side. But I when I actually grew up and did my rituals to release my own pain, 80% of my clients were men. And one of the reasons that I saw is because that anger that they come in with, that frustration, that I wasn't afraid of it. You understand what I'm saying? I wasn't intimidated by it. It didn't scare me. It wasn't going to, you know, they could have that energy without making me crumble or feel like I have to fight. I don't have to fight with you if you're angry. You know, I can hear you and still have a very strong voice to speak with you. Can you hear the difference? Can you hear what I'm saying? And a lot of us have not learned how to be in that space, which is the balance that you were speaking to, Ushaas. It's like, yeah, I can hear your anger and frustration and not let it take me off my square. I can bring some peace to that. I can bring some gentleness to that. I can even bring some yielding to that. I can let you have that angry space. Let me let you have that. And we'll come back later. What are you laughing at, Robert?
No, 'cause that's absolutely true. That's me all day. So yeah, no, I definitely understand.
Yeah. So it's part of what we bring into that. And so we just look at the effect that yin has on our connection to other people. Most of us need to use that. Can you speak more to that?
But using the yin energy.
Using that yin energy in our connection to other people. Like what does that look like?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's having that understanding to be able to literally understand, what's going on. It's like a lot of individuals there, not there. I'm not saying that I'm completely there, but it's
No, right.
it's a way of understanding and know what different walks of life individuals been through, and they try to explain themselves or their point, and I can understand that without becoming agitated or getting into my own feelings and feeling like they're wrong or have to go against them. I understand where you're coming from. And, I usually try to show by example or just be a listener and be a hearer more so than anything, and listen to individuals' situation without becoming so involved in it, and want them to understand my point of view or how I look at things. So that's usually that yin energy. And, a lot of folks try to be dominant over, when I'm working in the construction field. And this is the way it goes. I'm like, okay, well, you see that. And I stay cool and calm and let them try it that way. And they're like, yeah, we should have done it that way. Like, it's cool, and I'm understanding that. But, that was me cultivating my yin energy. I meditate on it. I know these things are going to happen and take place at the workplace, so none of that really gets to me. And I think having that yin energy, you're able to see these things coming almost. It's almost like, it's going to happen, how you going to react to it. So don't be so reactive and jumping on to things, just to prove your point. So, I usually stay back. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So now Ushaas, let us go ahead and define the understanding and that. What is it? So it's understanding, understanding, and overstanding. Let's do those three, so we can make sure that people are hearing us in the way that we want to be heard.
Definitely. So when you look at the word stand, well, first of all, if you look at the English language, for most people don't know this, or some people may know that it's a bastard language. It's a lazy language. It's a low vibration language. And so it's a language of confusion. And so when you realize that in English is your only language of speaking, we limit ourselves to what the etymology of the words are, because the English language is a spell. I'm not going to get it too deep into that, but every time you speak, because words are vibration, and said let there be light, our voice commands energy. So when you speak certain things, you're speaking certain energies out there, and it actually goes into your being. So when you say that you're standing, subconsciously, you're able to stand, you're upright, and you are in a ready position. So when you add things to it, like under, everyone knows that's like you're looking up. So if you understanding something, you're under the stand. So you're looking, you can't have a greater vantage point if you're under it. Now, if you're standing and you over it, you have a greater vantage point when you're trying to analyze something. Okay. Now, when you understand it, it's the being that knows all. We have 360 degrees, and if you go into metaphysics, 720 degrees of knowledge. And those beings, the ancestors you connected to, the higher powers that you connect, you are all inside. They say, if you're looking for God, look inside. If you're looking for the devil, look inside. Everything is inside of us. The universe was created from us. So when you understand something, you have the knowledge of everything inside of you. So it's just a point of being able to tap into that standing or that comprehension with the tools that have been discussed this week.
Yeah, yeah. Would you add anything to that, Robert?
That was excellent. You
It
know,
was excellent, wasn't it?
that was good. What I would just kind of have my stance on it a little bit with inner and understanding and overstanding as well. But understanding, I always felt like that was something that was forced on to me, you know, and it was something that was created and you want me to understand. So it was beneath me. You know, I want to force you to understand this. So understanding, like Usha said, it comes from within, you know, and that's the universe. And that's why I feel like all the answers are, you know, so that's why I take the time to meditate, and it opens up my creative process as well to help me to actually overstand. So like understanding, yeah, I don't really like using that term, and it's just like I said, it's forced onto you, and it's something that's beneath me, and it's forced someone else's way of thinking. Like, you understand this, you understand that? I'm like, yeah, I understand, but I got other questions. You know, it's something else to it. You know, but that's going to usually come to understanding. You know, you can sit there and read on something. You can give us a book, but it's once you're done reading it, you lay down, relax, different ideas or thoughts, and somebody's going to even read more or pick another book to learn more about that subject or whatever it is. And that's where that understanding comes into play, you know, and helps. I feel like it'd just be beneficial to do that. So yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that that actually the work that we do, you know, we talk about the soul work, would you say that soul work helps us to balance the energy of our yin and yang, or do we actually supposed to learn that by reading a book? How does soul work affect the balancing of our yin and yang?
The soul work is very effective. I think and when I think of that, I mainly, because the breathing techniques that you showed us early on. So that's when I feel like I'm doing mainly my soul work. And when I do deep breathing and I learn to meditate, control my breath, and actually just let things kind of flow and not get distracted while breathing, that's when I feel like I was doing the most effective soul work. And it definitely took time, so I couldn't really focus on it. I would think about all types of things, but the soul work, opposed to reading the books, I read the books, but the soul work's I'm actually doing that inner work, I feel, and it was able to show on the outside. So they kind of go hand in hand. It's simple, kind of like a little balance in between, because I wouldn't know any of these things to really meditate on too much, or to even make my mind to think that deeply without reading certain content. So kind of like a little balance.
Yeah, that's the balance. Yeah. What Ushaas, what would you add to that?
It's a constant journey, you know, to do the work to get to the point of mastering the voices that come inside your head. And you know, that's with the tools that Master Force provided. It elevated and put and simplified I call them the goddess tools and the deity tools. You know, it helps simplify getting in tune with yourself. So that's what Master Force, everything is about comprehension of self, because the more you have the comprehension of self, the more you're able to take over the world or doing your sole purpose. And you can only do that with the deity tools. You can only do that with meditation. You can only do that by removing physical things from your body, taken away from the meat suit. And that's the term I use for the human flesh. You have to take away from that in order to get in tune with self. So the more you get into that energy, it's energy. You have a greater comprehension. As I said, that the energy start flying through my hands. So, just doing the work on self, and the tools that Master Force has given us, just is a great reminder of the little things we can do to just keep ourselves in balance with the yin and the yang energy.
So why do we actually emphasize the winter solstice as being a great time to cultivate this energy? Why is this? And Ushaas, you spoke on it earlier a little bit, but why do we, because we keep doing everything to distract. Everything is distracting us from doing this energy, right? From being yin. Why is this such a good time of year? And we have to push it. We have to push this agenda because it's being pushed on us to not do it, right?
Yeah. You want me to answer? Okay.
Either one. Yeah. Either
okay.
one.
So it's so important again, because this is literally the season for magic. The universe gives us different signs on how to move with different rituals we have to do. And so us God beings that are in tune with that have to create our own systems or our own rituals outside of things that don't allow us to understand on a regular basis. Christmas don't allow you to understand. Anything dealing with the media and their punchlines, it's a distraction from your understanding. It's specifically designed to distract you from understanding. And so if you have an opportunity, it's so much stuff going on in the universe, this ain't even crazy. We didn't have comments, we didn't have I mean, the energy that's going on right now is absolutely massive. Our ancestors from ancient times talked about this time right now, that like they were just they were trying to mummify their bodies to come back, just so they can be back during the Aquarian age, because this is an age of magic. Okay. This is the time of magic. So during the solstice, there's certain energies that are going on in the universe that allow us to create the magical times where because now we're going towards the sun. We're in rotation. I don't like to use the word time. We're always rotating. We're always moving. We're never stagnant at any moment. So once we come into that understanding, we're able to capitalize off what's going on in the universe as well. And so the solstice are those pinpoints of the magic as it occurs as we continue to rotate.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here thinking of Robert and his 4 sons inside of a society, that's talking about Santa Claus and what you're getting for Christmas and what are your family eating for dinner. And this is Christmas Eve and both of you are parents, that you put out the milk and cookies.
I did do something. So,
milk and cookies?
Well, no, we actually, so what we do, because we realize that the media is bombarded with this, in our culture, we changed up all the holidays to when we call it Children's Day during that time. And we actually did, my mom, she's all into Christmas. We're with her. She wanted to get 1,000,000 lights, the whole 9. I said, okay, here's the compromise. We'll get a pine tree, a live pine tree. That way, we could even drink the pine needles. It had not, now you do that, you boil the water and let it seep for 20 minutes.
You don't drink the needles, you don't
drink the needles. Yeah, I definitely have to put that disclaimer in there because somebody will try it and We ain't trying to do none of that.
Right. So say it
And you
again.
can't-
You put the pine needles in the
and
water.
after it's boiled, you don't boil the pine needles.
Mhm.
Boil the water, place your pine needles in there for 20 minutes, cover it, and then you seep, use your strainer to get it out. You talking about a healer, you ain't got to worry about COVID or nobody else over it.
And then it's a great
Ever.
cleanser. It's a great energy spray that you can use for cleansing. I tell people use that pine to spray the corners to get
Oh
any
my goodness.
residue, any old spirits energy out of your house.
It makes the house smell wonderful. You can actually keep it all year round.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the pine needles. But the thing is, you can't, because we're still in the society, you have to do things within your culture. A lot of people want to do the Kwanzaa and back to Africa. We from here, we are native, we're native here. We have a lot of culture, indigenous culture that we used to do. This is the harvest, we're canning, we're packaging things. So there's a lot of things that can be done. We don't have TVs on, ain't no Christmas carols going on. We got the sound. We got, we doing sound symbols, so we keep that energy up. You have to take control of your homes. You can't allow the things that are not working in your divine being to captivate your home. And so you got to take a foothold, because they take a foothold on everything, and technology has advanced the foothold they can take in an instant with these devices. So I'm not going to get on that soapbox, but during this time, she wanted, she loves lasagna. So that's what I'm making for her. And it's got all the, the natural stuff in it to make it all nice and good for her system, making pineapple punch. These are different things, but we celebrate being a child. We allow her still the beauty of the season, because you're looking around, you have friends and they getting all this stuff. Dag, well, what do I get? They're still children. We still have to allow them to be children and take in the joys of what's going on in the world, but still give them the information about what they're seeing and how they are assimilated, not to, and I know I have to do
Hold
it
on,
better.
let me wait. I want Robert to answer that too. Robert, go ahead. Right, because you have four, Ushaas has one. So that four is probably a bigger struggle than that one. I want to hear some of that, right?
Oh yeah.
To be honest, I guess because I have boys, they do want what they want, of course, but we're not really too much into the tradition as well. My wife kind of likes to decorate a little bit, but as far as gifts exchange, we got 3 birthdays in December. So
right, yeah.
Like like almost Christmas the whole month for them, really, because they just like they trying to do something. But it's really for the kids, and we kind of maintain that, so they can still be able to enjoy the season, and it happens at school, they talk about it a lot. So we didn't do a tree or whatever, but kind of decorated, got poinsettias and stuff like that around, and looked other pine cones and everything. But as far as the gifts, they know they kind of getting some things. They don't know yet. Right now, they think this is just right now. It's about to be the worst Christmas ever. But
how do you do that? Is there a Santa Claus conversation going on somewhere?
My oldest, he wiped it all out for him. So
how old is your oldest?
Mom and dad. He's 11. He's turned 11 on the 16th.
We say he wiped it out.
Yeah, he wiped it. There's no Santa Claus, so they already know. That we come with the gifts and everything. So like right now, they're like, I know y'all gotta try to surprise my 6-year-old. Gonna surprise us in the morning, and it's gonna be a bunch of like, no, it's not. It's nothing.
Go to sleep, right?
Exactly. So we kind of focus a lot more though. Yeah, the family part, staying tight. Your brothers, best friends. And speak a lot on that, and just growing with each other and just having each other back. A lot of love. and things. But they understand already. It's just amazing, and it's what that whole what the season kind of creates, and they like to give a lot and want to help out other folks more so than anything. So try to keep that nice little balance for them. But as far as being kids, of course, we kind of do a little bit for them as far as with the gifts and stuff. So and it
Yeah,
works, and they
yeah.
appreciative, and like I said, it gives them some type of understanding as well.
Yeah, it's really kind of challenging in some of this, and I like what you were saying, Ushaas, about the culture. Like, how do we include the culture of the land, inside of, and things are going to shift too, because we're on the wrong calendar. I was surprised you didn't say that, Ushaas. The timing is way off.
That's another show.
Right.
That's another show.
Exactly. I be listening to some deep conversations, and then people bring up, the birth of Jesus is December 25th, and it's like,
Don't go there.
wait, why? I thought you were deep on a few minutes ago.
Don't go there.
That's more of a, a Haru. That's more of a comedic conversation, So
And that was
being
something
able, huh? No, go ahead.
So that was really something that actually helped when I first started with Mass Sports and Learning, studying the comedic energy and showing him that even with the story of Haru and Asar and everything. And it took him about like, wow, wait, hold on, wait. So this story with the Bible is just like, so he picked it up and like how far back it dated and everything. And he's like, it just shocked him. So he started doing his own research, and
Your son?
yeah, my son, yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So he started doing all based off of the story. So I ended up showing him even a YouTube clip a few years ago off of that. They kind of simplified it for him for kids, but the whole process with our side set and the rule and everything, and
right,
like it stuck with him, And anybody talk about Christmas or Jesus this and everything, they got to be ready for a deep conversation.
He's got
love it.
I love that. And that's yeah. What? Go ahead, Ushaas.
Do want to say one thing that we did in our culture. We have an event that we call the virtual excursion, and we're actually having a virtual excursion tomorrow, going and we visit the ancient cultures from around the world. Last month, we visited Atlantis. Tomorrow, we're actually visiting Angkor Wat. So, and it's for children of all ages. So that's every, I guess you could say, holy day. We try to bring about, we've been doing virtual events before they became popular, because I've been homeschooling my daughter before then, and she's the only child. So we've been doing virtual events for quite a while now. And on the holidays or holy days, we kind of do something to help balance out that energy as well.
So do you have information posted on the social media that we can share?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on my site.
Okay.
And I'll send it to you.
Yeah, because then I can put it in the group for anybody. I can put it on the page, put it in the group, or just share it for anyone that has children. And that way,
and we have so much fun. We have so much fun visiting different places, but it's so many small little things that we don't know, we realize that we can. And so as we're learning about the understanding, teaching our children how to do that so they won't have to struggle as much with navigating on this planet, I think was the most important thing we can do right now.
Exactly. We're actually sharing knowledge with them that we didn't get at their age.
Exactly.
We're sharing it so they can move. Now, I want to move on inside of this conversation of understanding now. On Monday, we spoke about flow. And how would you say flow influence understanding? How is that? How would you say flow and understanding kind of correlate together?
Well,
Let's start with
okay,
Brother King here on this one.
most definitely.
As far as the flow, like that whole part with understanding and cultivating that yin energy is a part of peace. And that peace is a result of basically training your mind to the process of life as it is, opposed to rather how we think it should be. So, and what I mean by that is that's allowing things to flow. And most of us really don't have that. We try to seek out to control so many aspects of our life and different things that we encounter without letting things flow. And with having that yin energy, be able to see things and understand life as it is, and we usually so preoccupied about things in the past, that took place already, so basically doesn't exist, or things in the future which doesn't exist because it hasn't happened yet. So when you allow things to flow, I think it helps to keep you more so present and opens up that awareness and keep you, where we should be. And it takes away from all that stress and frustration that life will bring to you when we don't allow things to flow.
And you shares, what would you add to that?
Um, the thing with flow, because I study Chinese energetics, stagnant energies causes chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Simply put, um, it can cause physical chaos, it can cause emotional chaos, it can cause psychological chaos anytime your energy is not flowing. Um, the more you get into your breath, you're able to release the stagnant energy. Um, and I actually use my hands to release. There's a technique of using your hands to release. Someone must need some energy because my hands are like just started like on fire almost, just
Mm-hmm.
tingling, just speaking about it. So anytime you have any stagnant energy, you can go to the doctor. They can tell you that, oh, I got a headache. Oh, I have this. You're telling them what's wrong with you. Any issue you have physically, it starts in the spiritual realm first from stagnant energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you get into stretching out your body, releasing, you have to do things on a daily to release the energy, and most of us don't do that. Just not just exercise, but people don't really comprehend how energy can just be stagnant in your bodies for years, and you wondering why you have these problems, and it goes back to some type of energetic um knot that can be in your system.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That really is a great segue into my next question, which is, what you've already mentioned, like breath and in your hands, but what are some of the ways that we can actually cultivate yin energy in our body? Like when you think about cultivating, breath, the hands, what are some other ways that you can cultivate for people who, they've never experienced what we're talking about? They just kind of unconsciously move through life. If something comes up, they just react. But what can we tell them, what can we share with them that would give them access to cultivating this yin energy within themselves so that they can have a better understanding of who they are?
I was a lot more like what helps with myself is sleeping, resting, meditation. Those are like the key periods in time and taking that time. I know we mentioned breathing, but those are usually the time I cultivate my yin energy.
Mhm.
Try not to have like lack of desires or planning anything. That way I'm not thinking so much. So I don't bring too much on myself, so I'm able to relax and think,
Mhm.
process things and everything, and not overcommitting myself. Um, no overcommitment to anything really, and even if I feel I can do it, I try to keep it things simple. Simplicity is definitely key. You know, uh, we're cultivating that energy and lots of relaxation. So like I feel like when we do take that time, that's when we're able to actually hear from ourselves intuitively, and we can become most effective, to the world and to those that we encounter. But all that comes from inside and listening to, ourselves inside, intuitively. So.
Yeah, it stimulates the intuition, doesn't it? To have that solitude or that stillness. Ushaas, what would you add? So we talked about the breath, hands, meditation, resting, relaxation, and stillness, and then being simplistic. What else would you add to that for cultivating yin energy within ourselves?
One of the stillness is probably the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's important is affirmations and chanting.
Mm-hmm.
If you start certain, you have to create certain vibrations for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So chanting is one thing that definitely helps with that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that came about very recent um, is an affirmation. I've been saying I am, the I am.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says the I am. And I came up on this sister and she says, when you say I am, it's just going to the mental. She said, try to say, she said, if you want to hack your brain, say you are and see how it resonates
Mm-hmm.
differently,
Mm-hmm.
because the you is the observer that's actually able to program everything else around you. So when you start using affirmations and say you are, you're doing a more of a ingraining in that inner being to give direction as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to I.
That is wonderful. I know a lot of times when I'm in the throes of recreating myself, which I tend to do very often, uh, I will create a meditation with my voice. And the affirmations, like the first set of affirmations,
Yeah,
may
those are
be
good. Those
I
are
am, right? Then the next set would be you are, because
Mm,
it really does embed that into you speaking to yourself, but
yeah,
hearing your voice. And I would play that on repeat. You can create those for yourself. One of the other things that I would say for cultivating yin is actually using what we call
mm,
the emotional freedom technique.
yeah. EFT.
Yeah, EFT, and you can find a lot of the EFT because you spoke about the stuck energy, and so the Chinese created this 5,000 years ago. Tap on your meridians
Yeah,
and release that energy.
yeah.
And matter of fact, the more that you actually practice doing that, the
Oh yeah.
more that you have, stuff that come up. And so even stuff from years in your childhood, you're releasing, and it's
Yeah.
allowing you more access to yourself. So I would definitely say and then my favorite also is Bach flower remedy. So
Oh yeah, that could be a lifesaver.
yeah, I
I,
wanted to add those two because literally those flower essence, oh.
mhm. Another thing that's so important is organic iodine. So
Oh yeah,
your
mm-hmm.
your thyroid is off, you can forget it. You can forget it. Everything is connected, but our hormones also direct us our understanding. So if you
Mm-hmm.
are not in tune with your being off, you have that's probably the biggest tool in understanding. First, know the difference between you, yourself, me, myself, and I. You have to kind of come to that conclusion of the different entities within yourself. We all have our own individual trinity. And so when you think of, when you really get into your yin and yang and being, you know, have the utmost integrity with yourself as far as bringing yourself to the floor. Doing mirror work is also staring at yourself, staring at your first eye in between this point. All those things get you in tune with your inner being that will ultimately give you understanding.
Mhm. Yeah. So for yourself, and Robert, I'll take you on this one first. When you're actually in the midst of being challenged, right? What is your biggest obstacle to accessing your yin energy?
I would say avoiding enforcing my personal will into a situation. You know, that as much as I want to, and I feel like I usually know the things that I know, you know, say on the job, like a conflict for me is like a lot of enforcing my will because I feel like it avoids confrontation, you know, and me choosing to, like, you know, stay quiet and remain calm and let someone else, you know, explain how they like to do things instead of me enforcing the way I like to do it. It helps out, and it, you know, for both of us, because then I get a chance to see how the universe is actually working within this individual and within myself, and we can come together and figure out what works for both of us, and you know, and it avoids a lot of confrontation or conflict. So, you know, I'll say that's the main thing. Yeah, avoid enforcing my personal will in
But
situations.
do you actually feel like you have a voice on your job where if you needed to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can talk. So that's why, you know, I'm not gonna say you're wrong or this not gonna work or anything. You know, I try to avoid those way of you know, presenting my way of actually doing something. So, you know, I listen and then they can listen to myself, or even in relationships, you know, taking that time to listen to, you know, my spouse, or, you know, when I'm talking, she's able to listen and we able to come to some type of common ground. So, like I said, enforcing my will on how things, because I hate to sound too big on myself, but most of the time I'm right, you know, in a lot of situations, but it usually works out for both parties, you know, when I don't do what I used to do back in the past. And that was, this is how it's done, this is how it should be. Well, according to this, you're wrong, you know, and
Mhm,
it kept
mhm.
create a lot of conflict within, you know, even working or within relationships, life period.
You actually are pointing to one of the yin aspects that we did not talk about this week, and that's about yielding. Like it's a yin energy is yielding, and it's tolerant as well, you know,
Yeah.
and it's a power, not because it's not yielding so that it can be walked on, but it's yielding so that clarity can show up, just like you were saying, so I can hear, let me hear what this person is saying. And then if I'm really listening, your intuition can slip into there and tell you something, you know what I mean? You can get some downloads coming in. That yielding is a great yin aspect that, you know, more of us need to actually take on, but we didn't get a chance. We couldn't talk about all the yin is very juicy. I mean, I was this week, I'm like, we have to do a whole compilation. We have to do a book on yin, you know, this is so weak. Ushaas, what would you say is when you're actually in the midst of some yang stuff and you have to access that yin, what is your biggest challenge?
Being quiet.
Well, you a Gemini. I don't know.
Right. It's my biggest challenge.
and,
and
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 Geminis know every doggone thing.
oh my goodness, it's horrible.
No,
It's
it's not.
horrible.
I'm
It's horrible.
surrounded by Geminis, but I also have
Yes,
a Gemini moon. So
yes. But I think probably the biggest thing, and not only being a Gemini, but also, you know, being raised as an only child, you know, you have a, but in all of that, I've been humbled, you know, many times. to be quiet or to be, so, again, we talk about those lessons that you have to learn in order to elevate. So before, like you said, the Gemini, like, no, I know it. No, I'm gonna say it. And
Mhm.
so, and it's not always, if we're here, if I know everything, why am I still on the planet? I wouldn't even be here if I knew everything, right? I still got lessons to learn. So, and even approaching people like I know everything. Um, it's very confrontational. And so those different things, I say the hardest thing is learning to be quiet. And so, you know, again, being raised as an only child, I never had to be quiet. I never had to respect anybody's space but my own. So coming into arena with other people, and the Gemini's mind is moving, because if somebody says something like more than 2 times, you kind of like, okay, you said this. And then they said another time. It's like, okay, they gonna be quiet because I got it. So yeah, being quiet, and really having the discernment to know that everybody doesn't think like me. So I think that's probably the biggest lesson that we all have to comprehend. We all have egos and we all have had different experiences. However, when we speak to other people, we have the misconception that they think like us. And when they say something, we interpret their conversation based on our experiences. And most of the times we're completely wrong. So when you get an understanding from yourself, it gives you and able to be quiet. You can listen, really have a better communication to anyone that you're talking to.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. I was just thinking when you're talking, I'm thinking about inside of relationships, right? Inside of relationships, we have to be able to find the yin yang balance, right? Because if you yin all the time, you don't give your partner enough challenge for them to grow. If you're yang all the time, you could actually dominate so much that you could crush the spirit, right? So when you're looking in your relationship, what is your natural go-to? And then do you all, how people say they have the safe word? How people say pineapple, when I say pineapple, that means stop.
Right.
Robert, what would you say in your relationship? Are you mostly yin? Are you mostly yang? Or when you get too yang, do you know how to pull back? Or when you get too yang, do you know how to bring it in?
Definitely more yin, and like I could definitely. It comes out due to my wife being more so the yang side, so that's why that balance is useful. So when I take the time and meditate and think and write down a lot of my thoughts, that and share with my wife, she's more so right behind my back. I done started a business name, got the LLC, So all those thoughts and ideas that I come up with, that's what gets me going usually in the spring and summer. Like every time, and it helped out. So it was like that perfect balance, because I can't become too yin. Where like, all right, man, we got to do something. We got to figure something out. But I'm gonna use that patience, and sit there and stay kind of persistent on what I'm doing, and not just jump and move around to the next thing because like, oh, we have to do this. So like we take that time. I'm patient and stay persistent and relax a little bit. I'm like, wait, these things are gonna happen, and it helped out a lot because it put me in a position where I appreciate things. So that's the yin thing. So the things that the ups and downs that I do deal with, me being persistent and sticking with something, I appreciate it more. I worked hard for it and appreciate it more instead of jumping on to this next thing, which more the yang part of me, which it has happened, and I don't really appreciate I can lose it or this happens and become frustrated and irritated or whatever. And I was thinking it's because I didn't work for this. I didn't really put in that kind of work. There wasn't no preparation for it. I was just doing something. So
Yeah.
that balance kind of comes out with you know my partner and her explaining certain things to me like I you've been a little too relaxed in certain situations,
Mhm.
and I can tell when it's overcoming me because I almost feel like I'm confused and just lost out here. So,
Mm.
so like yeah, like
So
that.
so her yang energy is very complementary to your yin. So it's not like y'all are clashing her.
Yeah, exactly. It put me to action.
Now
But when
flowing.
my yang is really into that
Mhm.
point, it's spring summertime. So yeah, it works perfectly, and the balance that it creates it and it helps her out as well. When she's able to sit down and cultivate that yin energy and take some time, listen to herself, plan, and just don't be so jumpy and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a balance.
I
Mhm.
was talking to a friend of mine a few weeks ago, and I was telling him, I said, it's interesting that a lot of people do not allow themselves time to just be still and just enjoy the luxury of their own home, their own space. They just, it's just go, 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 get this, sit down and watch a television show, but you know, all of that, you still don't even get to be in your space. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, because we're so yanged out. It's like, oh no, something wrong if you're sitting down.
Right.
You got to be always doing something. So what about you, Ushaas, in your relationship? Are you more yang and pull in the yin, or are you more yin and have to pull out the yang?
Well, I'm actually been in a relationship with myself for quite a while now.
Mhm.
And and in that I've had to learn, hmm, I've had to master the yin, the yang. Um and for a while it was very frustrating because you want a partner to be there to balance that part out. Um However, it allowed me to balance certain things within myself for the yin and yang in myself to bring. And so now as I'm learning to, getting into the self-love, I know the past relationships that I've had, I was more uh the yin, more of the. However, when things get into a situation, I've been able to flip because that's the way I was raised, where it doesn't matter your gender, you're supposed to stand up for yourself, you're supposed to take care of yourself, you're supposed to handle whatever you handle. But I love being a woman, I love the energy of the yang. So learning how to balance those things within myself, a lot of times it came into question when presenting myself to, in society. But as I continue to not um, take off any type of tags that people have, it allowed me to balance the yin and yang more. But predominantly, I love the creativity, but in the relationships, um, I enjoy being the yin. I enjoy allowing that flow of energy. But when you look at the light, you also see there is still a little dark in there. Just if you look at the dark, there's also a little bit of light in there as well.
Mhm.
So there's all this, the energy continues to flow. And if you are blessed enough to find someone, some people say that you have a partner because you're not able to balance that within yourself. So I don't know how true that is, but we're all at different levels to get to the total balancement that I do know.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all come in here trying to learn something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You
It's
know,
definitely learn. You get sit in. One thing I learned, if you don't learn the lessons will keep coming, and your
mhm,
ancestors will knock you on your butt if you're not paying attention. You wonder why you keep getting hit upside the head with dumbness or chaos, is because
mhm.
you're not listening to your inner being. You're not listening.
Yeah,
um,
right. And you really don't even have a chance. Uh-oh, where did I go? You really don't even have a chance. Hold on, I got you.
pinned it.
Mm-mm.
You pinned Robert.
No, I was actually, I had you both on spotlight.
Mhm.
There we go. We actually come in here to learn and we forget that we're learning.
Mhm. We were just having fun. I was just having fun for a while. I was having a lot of fun.
Mhm.
It's like, nope, you got some lessons to deal with. Fun time, playtime over.
Yeah.
Turning your ID.
Very true.
Start the work.
So now as we start winding down to the last quarter of this conversation, I know it goes fast,
Oh
doesn't
wow.
it?
Is it that time?
It's getting close, right? But I want to make sure that as we look at, what we've talked about today and um, this week has been full of just amazing information. But as you summarize and look at what you shared today, what would you say are three things that you want people to take away from what you share? What three things would you want them to like just hold and get clear about as far as understanding for understanding? Robert, do you have three? Can you think of three things you want them to take away?
Yeah, I mean, I would say to try to look at as far as with yin energy is like look at it like water and how it just flows opposed to yang being more likened to a stone, and it has a strong structure and everything and forms pretty much, wherever water is weak, or not present. So if we allow our life and things to just flow, it can kind of give us that more inner power to develop, to have that peace and relaxation and joyful presence and in the world that we're living in. So and definitely gratitude and wisdom will come from that as well. So just let life flow and and focus on being relaxed and being present and aware in life.
Was there a time in your life when you were not like that, Robert? Where you weren't even concerned about relaxing and finding peace? Was there ever a time in your life that you were like that?
Yep, big time. Fresh out of college, 2013, and after that, up until I became certified master force in 2018. It was just a struggle. It was a headache from then because, like, what do I do in my life? I graduated, couldn't find a job and different things, and I was just trying to bounce it from here to there. I had a kid, my first child, 2010, and then the next one came 2015. So then that's when it kind of picked up again. Like I had to figure something out. So I went from working in the schools to truck driving and doing little things on the side, purchasing a van, and become a mover. It was like a lot. I thought I was trying to make things better, but I never took time to actually relax and and saw my true potential and things that I was actually good in. And what I actually loved and enjoyed doing. And that was me being able to relax and and see my full potential and listen to the inner voice and tell myself that Robert, you're moving too much. You're creating your own stress. And
Mm.
that's what I was doing at that time and just trying to make things happen and thinking I was completely in control, and take this time, listen, meditate, I learned those things. Feel like I grew spiritually then, because I was going to church prior to that, and even more frustrated. So it wasn't until I realized, the God in me and who I was, and I created my own miracles, and just things started happening, and learning how to manifest things and visualize, and using the visualization techniques that I learned and the Marv technique, and those things helped me. I'm like, wow, and I gained more control and power, of my life, and things just continue, blessings after blessings, like, manifestations, and everything happens. Something happens different every year,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you get to spend time with your family too.
big time. Yep, not out, and it's a lot better, and maybe to work a decent time of the day and come home and be my kids. I coach my kids as well, so you know, wrestling, and they all come to practice. I run a team and I coach my boys too. So the best, Come on, we all pretty much on the same schedule. And
Yeah.
that's how I kind of picture things to be, and I visualize and seeing myself doing those things, and that's what's going on now.
Yay, I love that. Yay.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Ushaas? So three amazing things that you want people to walk away with tonight that's going to make a difference for them.
Okay. First thing, self-love.
Mhm,
And Robert touched on that, the proper meditation, proper exercise, proper eating,
mhm,
um, proper sleep,
mhm,
uh, and proper prayer and meditation. Did I say that one? It seems like I'm missing one.
mhm,
And plenty of proper water. So that um, is a formula for self-love.
mhm,
The second one, I would say, learn how to become the observer.
mhm,
Um, we have two eyes, two ears, and one mouth because we're supposed to watch. Um, we're supposed to, what is it? Supposed to watch and listen twice as much as we talk.
mhm,
So when we become just the observer of things, you're able to see things much more clearer when we keep our mouths closed. So that has been one of my lessons that
mhm.
I am working on mastering. Um,
And what's the third thing you want
the
them to do?
third one is I employ everyone to comprehend what energy is.
Mhm,
Uh, just I could say take a metaphysical class. That sounds real geeky. And like I said, I'm speaking from my vantage point. But now they have virtual classes that don't hardly cost that much. Just take a simple class on energy.
mhm.
Learning, I would say physics, that might be too much. Um, and I will soon have a class. How about that? I'll put
I
that
was
out.
just sitting here thinking, why don't
Right.
you just do a class on energy?
Right. I have to do a class. So, but until my class is created and out there, just start to understand energy. Everything is about energy. And if you don't have the basic knowledge of what energy is, there's no way that you can tap into what's really going on in yourself. So those are the three things that I have for everyone today.
That is wonderful. So before we close out, do you have any resources to share with people that are assisting them and to go in deeper? I know we want them to have a class, but is there anything that you could share with them resource-wise that they can go and look into?
Yes, well, within our government, we have Imperial House of Health and Wellness, and I'll share the site with you in the chat. That we have a continuous a platform for people to go and share for healing, and also sharing recipes. It started off as just a winter solstice ritual, but then there were people from all walks of life that had never done a fast before. And they're like, well, what do I do now? So it was like, okay, we just can't leave people hanging like this. We
Right.
actually, because they're babies in it, as it takes about at least 7 times 3, 21 days to actually form a habit within
Mhm.
your brain. So if we're only doing it for 9 days, we're doing a disservice for the people. So it's the CMYE imperialgov.us. And let me put that in the chat. That is the site that we have actually a daily gathering virtually, and just to get people aligned to their self. And that's the main purpose of it at this particular time. Because people are operating their own individual silos, feeling unloved. And this particular season, you know, since people have been focusing on keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, do people still do that? I mean, I don't know, but
I know I don't.
right. In our circle, that's not a part of our circle,
Mhm.
but it's still a reality, because I do have girlfriends, and some of the conversations, I don't talk to them alone that have that, making sure they're okay. And if you need something, I'm here, and vice versa. Because my sister friends, regardless of what level, we still support each other at whatever level they are. But the conversations, that they're still on certain things that we're not necessarily on, and that's okay. In love, we accept the evolution of others. However, we have to provide more tools that help people on a regular basis, as opposed to, everything is so wonderful. Everybody's so giving. What happened to before this happened, this time? Did nobody need nothing before then? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but we're not going to get into the whole nother soapbox of that.
Right, because now you both have already brought up a few topics that we have to we have to either write books, create
Right, a credit
courses,
class.
create podcasts. Robert, that's your next thing. We need for you to create a podcast for our brother kings who are fathers.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear that, Robert?
absolutely. I would like that too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that's something that I would love to help you develop this year, yeah, because especially with young children,
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
imagine how people are torn between the whole Christmas thing, the whole Kwanzaa thing, and being, present to family, because some people stress themselves out.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget, they got a menorah in there too.
A what?
A menorah. I was just being silly.
Oh,
But
I
the Hebrew.
thought you said manure. I said, what?
Hey, where'd that come from?
What?
And why? Yeah. The menorah,
Right.
you gotta.
Robert, did you, yeah, right, your thing for tomorrow. Robert, did you have any resources or anything that you could point to people?
The main thing I would say, honestly, and the resource that I use daily or whenever I have any um, questions about anything and where I go to, it's a joint master force. That's all my resources come from there. I got my slides that I look at, when I'm on the train or headed to work, and I might come up on something. That's what I usually go to. And the tools that were provided there help me out in so many aspects in my life, period. So that's my main thing, because that's my number one resource, really. I could name a few books, that especially dealing with this yin. I read it's the Zen of Creativity. So studying
Mhm.
like Zen, and it got kind of a little bit similar to the yin yang, a little bit coming from the Taoist, but that yeah, joining Master Force, those are just like the best tools that I can really, you know, send somebody in that direction. That's where I got my understanding from. So, and that's what helped me. So that's why it's my number one resource, really. So,
I know we have a course called the Master Force Life course that doesn't give coaching certification, but it does provide them with a lot of the information that the coaches learned without the certification. So we'll probably do a lot more to market that this coming year, because it doesn't cost as much as the certification course. So I think it would be um, more readily available for people and more affordable too.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we want to keep our life coaching course exclusive. Everybody,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, everybody. And then I had let me see, if you actually are taking clients right now, what services are you providing? And then where can people find you?
well,
Are you taking clients right now, Robert?
I'm
Or-
currently not. So the way that I use it, and to what extent I use my coaching is usually with the boys that I coach in wrestling. So
Mhm,
I use programs Caravan Wrestling, and we over at Mount Carmel High School, and we're there 4 times out of the week, every day except Wednesday. And me teaching them the Marv technique and meditation, it helps them out. So they always use the visualization process before they even step on the mat. And that's something that I wish I had when I was wrestling or even playing sports, because like I saw myself winning, I saw my hand getting raised and different things like that. So it increases their confidence. So
mhm.
and they use that even, you know, like some of my eighth graders, it's getting ready for high school and stuff. So they they practice those things and kind of use the visualization techniques. And they're like, I see myself doing these things. And, whether you're passing classes, acing that test, all that. So they tell me these things like, hey, coach, I did that and I ended up getting 100, or starting to speak things into existence and stuff. So,
Oh, you're
those,
about to make me cry.
so that's big with my boys, and like I said, the confidence is the main thing that I see with them, the confidence in themselves, and believing in themselves. So we usually spend the first like 10, 15 minutes of practice of doing that, and walk around at the end of practice. It's quiet, deep breathing, and just sitting there thinking. It's almost like meditating and walking, but these are different skills I teach our kids, and meditating, and they thinking they kung fu masters and stuff at times, but it's harnessing some type of skill. It's putting something in them, and I sorry, yeah, see
Mhm.
the changes with a lot of them, especially the ones that, well, I'm about to meditate. Wait, deep breathe, like what we doing? And eventually, about 2, 3 weeks, go past, and they love it, and they practice these things at home as well. So that's why I use my coaching in that area as of now, and other ways to help
That's
myself.
no, that's absolutely wonderful. And again, it goes back to the podcast. Can you imagine being able to share, with other parents and other coaches and other teachers, this process? Because the Marv technique is one of my favorites as well. That saved my life in college. And that's how I created it, because I needed it myself. I was not a good test taker.
Mm.
And then also most people don't realize that Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, they use visualization. The coaches taught them visualization. It's part of their process before they practice or before they do a game. So, that's good stuff. And thank you for sharing that. Ushaas, what about you? Are you taking any clients right now or have any services that you're offering?
Um, I take I'm taking clients exclusive, it has to be special occasions
Mhm,
because I am very busy right now, but I do raindrop therapies, which is like my favorite thing to do. And what it does, it raises your vibratory frequency by using essential oils.
mhm,
So a lot of times I've been able to use that on people that have mental instabilities, and it balances their mental out. Um, Again, with the Chinese energetics, I do unblocking of energies, I'm able to do that through the phone as well. But that's a practice that I don't do very often. If there's, there's personal situations that I do tap into and allow people to be seen and help them. But at this particular time, I am not taking on any clients. It has to be a personal referral by you or someone that is close to me, just because of the workload and the different things that we are pushing out on a larger scale. So I have to be mindful of my time.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
we don't like to promote rushing and pushing and hurrying and we don't like that.
Yes, yes. So the events, I put 2 links in the chat.
Okay.
That's where people can find me. Um, uh, at the virtual excursions, most of my time is dedicated um, to the building of our government and to the raising of our daughter. So those are the things that have been monopolizing my time in a beautiful way. So I have to, the universe has called me to stay focused on those things at that time.
Yes, and I can hear that. Because
Yeah.
I've taken that on the whole year. You know better than anybody. I have been off
Indeed.
hands. Yes, deeply in.
Yeah.
So now we've come to the end. I have just really enjoyed you guys. I've enjoyed this week, and I can't believe that it's over and we're done. And this is Christmas Eve and the last
Children's
day of
Day Eve.
solstice, right? The last,
Children's Day Eve.
yeah, well, I'll have to come up with another term because that doesn't work
It
for
don't,
me.
it don't, it don't flow for you.
Well, I don't have children, first of all.
It's the children inside of you, the child inside.
Oh, well, okay, well, I'll figure that out. That's
No.
good.
Say no,
Because
that ain't it either.
because I did the same thing you did too. I made sure that my children, found joy in the season, but we
Right.
didn't do the Santa Claus stuff, right? But we did have
Yeah, I had
the
to tell her.
lights and all of that. So if you have one final thing to say to your audience, what would you say? What is the last thing that you want? What is your sign off for tonight?
Let it flow. Relax and let it flow.
Relax and let it flow. Okay, that's a t-shirt.
Yeah. Mine would be be gentle with self.
Be gentle with yourself. Yeah,
Mm,
very cool.
be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank both of you. I mean, both of you agreed to do this on this date. I was surprised because you both have children. I was like, oh, okay. I'm good.
I don't even look at the calendar. I don't
Mhm.
even, so yeah, it didn't even register.
Yeah. Well, that's why we didn't have 7 days, because I didn't want to insist
Okay.
somebody do tomorrow, which would be, that might impede on their family time a little bit more.
Got it. Got it.
So for those of you who have been with us this week, we have had just a marvelous group of speakers. Master Force coaches are my heroes on
Mhm.
so many levels, so many levels. And I just can't say enough about just the excitement that I have from all of the outpouring of this week. I'm talking about books,
Yeah.
podcasts, events. I mean, it's like we're going to have a busy 2022. And it
Right.
all came from you all sharing, and your generosity with the public. This is something that you don't have to do, and you do it. And you can hear that you aren't doing this just so you can get clients. It's like, no, well, I do it for this. I do, so that's a beautiful thing. And I love that about you guys, So thank you. And thank you all for listening. And we'll see you in the summer for the summer solstice. So in the meantime, keep mastering or learning how to master your life force. We're signing off now. You coaches stay here so we can debrief.